What's good, people? This is episode 49. The episode starts. This is Sports Debate Tuesday. The episode starts right now. And I might walk 500 miles, and I might walk 500 more just to be 1,000 miles. I don't know the rest of the song. Ooh, when I wake up. Okay, people, I miss karaoke, okay? I admit it. What's up? This is episode 49. This is Sports Debate Tuesday, along with my man, Rob. Keep it McLean. I am Jason DeBillius, and pretty short episode, consolidating it for the playoffs. But the cool thing about the playoffs is that the pick six stays the pick six. All right, Steph Curry threw up 60 on Sunday, another 30 last night. So he's Saturday, another 30 last night. We're going to talk about him and a little bit on quick question. Shame and no shame for those of you that even have a heartbeat or a pulse, pretty much knows what our topic is, because there's a whole bunch of shame this weekend in the NFL. But first things first. The seeds are out. Green Bay's got to bye. Kansas City's got to bye. The 2s and the 7s, the 3s and the 6s, the 4s and the 5s. Rob McLean. You got a lot of seeds that are visiting home stadiums that are heavily favored to win. You got Tampa Bay against Washington. You got the Ravens in Tennessee, visiting Tennessee. That's a 5 and a 4. I'll put it up. Actually, I'm going to put it up right now as we speak, because it's going to segue into our question. This is the AFC one. Take a peek at the AFC one, people. All of those great matches. Cleveland won their last matchup. Of course, that was Mason Rudolph, but they've always done well against Big Ben without like a legit run block or running game. I'll leave that up to you to decipher. So, Rob, my question is: you can go to the AFC, the NFC. Which lower seed has the best shot at winning this weekend?
Well, I honestly think it'll be of the teams that are there. I think, the Cleveland Browns, just on the matchup, as well as, what they've kind of been able to do, obviously, other than that Giants debacle where they lost all their players and, yada, yada. But they've been playing really solid, good football. They have so much talent on that team. And if they just run the ball and then let Baker Mayfield throw on top of that, it's hard to beat that. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, that what they do well is, rush the quarterback, play great, secondary defense. So for me, I think Baker can definitely break down a secondary. He doesn't need a lot of time to get the ball out of his hands, and they have two amazing running backs with a really strong run game. So I see Pittsburgh, definitely on their heels coming into the playoffs.
Yeah. For me, I'd like to go lazy and call Tampa Bay, to barbecue the winner of the NFC least, who I've never seen a team win and back into the playoffs at the same time. Usually when you back into the playoffs, it's because you lost your last game, But no, I'm going to go a little bit more fun with my pick, because it is airtight. It is an airtight game, in my opinion. I got to go with the Ravens against the Tennessee Titans. I'm picking the Ravens, who's coming into Tennessee as the 5 seed. And Derrick Henry, boy, rushed for 250 yards to finish the season. Finished with 2,032, so now he's part of the 2,000 club, along with CJ, along with Dickerson, along with Barry Sanders, along with Terrell Davis. He's 5th on that list of the what I call the not so hateful 8. So, and for me, a lot of people are thinking for the Ravens to beat the Tennessee Titans, you're going to have 4 Derrick Henrys to beat them. And guess what? They do. They have 4 people combined that's better than one Derrick Henry. They got even the quarterback right now, Lamar Jackson, who's the first quarterback to have back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing seasons. The crazy thing is, in the year of the scrambling quarterback, you knew it was going to happen sooner or later, and we're not surprised it hasn't happened sooner. Lamar Jackson's catching fire at the right time. I think playing in Tennessee is the right place. Coach Harbaugh is no stranger to winning on the road, and the Ravens are going to be my pick. The guy can run. The guy can throw. Their defense is stout. They'll bend but don't break. And they know they're probably going to have to give up the deep ball to Tannehill. They're going to have a spy on Tannehill for the piston action because a lot of they're going to be stacking 7 or 8 in the box against Henry. And they're going to have to play that game, but Tannehill's going to have to beat him deep. But if they give that Tannehill that extra second, he's going to burn you, man, because I never liked Tannehill, but I got to respect him. The work, oh my God, he's been good. And he can run. I didn't know if he's breaking out in the open. He just takes off and runs for touchdowns because even the cameraman, you watch NFL films, the cameraman is following Henry, and then Henry doesn't have the ball. Now the camera has to toggle back to the quarterback because he's gone. He ran one that looked like Daniel Jones, dude. I thought he was gonna trip. I thought he was gonna trip, dude. I was gonna trip and run. So so make mine the Ravens. So you picked the Browns, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think you trust the coach more than I do, and I got another guy I like. I didn't know, but I gotta respect because you got all these tools and you got all these tools to win, but you still need someone to put it together. And guess what? The guy did it. Good for him, man. And you knew the real MVP wasn't Mayfield.
Well, this was his first year. And this is the third head coach that Baker Mayfield and the rest of that team has been under coached by. So it's I think that he might not even be like a great coach. He might just be a good coach. But that's all that team needs with all the talent that they have. They still don't even have OBJ, I don't believe, and they're cruising. So I just think that team is built to play in the playoffs. So being anything over 9-7 for me is, and playing the right type of football, that makes that team looks really, really strong. So as long as they run that ball, I really like what the Browns have.
What a great playoff scenario, though, right? We got like a whole bunch of teams that finished 11-5, and the team that finished 10-6 is out. Miami's out. Miami, Buffalo rolled them up for 56 points. By the way, hey. And I'll stop there. I'll stop there because, I don't know, when you're winning too much, it becomes a little bit redundant. So you got to just do that in the beginning. All right, Rob, so pretty good wrap-up for question 1. Question 2 might take a little bit longer, but let's poke back and forth on this, all right? I'll go first on this. As to the question of who we think deserves MVP, regular season most valuable player. And question 1A is who is coach of the year, regular season coach of the year. I'll go first on MVP, and you go first on coach, all right?
Yeah.
My most valuable player, and it's really, really hard for me not to say Josh Allen because of the way he's played and the way he's coming to his own, and all he really needed was one deep threat to show it. He's broken every record with the Buffalo Bills for passing total yardage. He beat Bledsoe. He beat Jim Kelly most touchdowns with 34. He's also run for 8, so he's probably in that 40 club, but I can't do it. And I can't go, and guess what? I can't go Mahomes either. I can't go Mahomes either. This one, I got to go Aaron Rodgers. I'd like to steal Stephen A's thing and say he's a bad man. The man leads the league in quarterback rating. He leads the league in completion percentage. And the top 5, all of them are 70% or higher in the top 5, with Josh Allen a 69.2, which is basically 70. Okay, so got to go at Rodgers because he didn't need a lot of weapons. He just needed a couple. He give him one Devontae Adams and look what that man can do. He was 13. He was 13-3 last year with no weapons. He had to hit his stride a little bit, but I don't know what kind of consecutive winning streak they're on right now, and I should have checked that. But I would say it's very equivalent to Buffalo. With Mahomes being everybody's leader because of the impossible things that Mahomes can do. Come on, man. Give Rodgers that 3-headed running back. Give Rodgers Tyreek Hill, who's the fastest man on the earth. Give Rodgers a tight end like Kelsey that could do that, and he'd be breaking
Hardman.
He would break the
Sammy
internet.
Watkins.
He would break cable TV. He'd break the internet. He would break football. Okay. And he'd have a big old smile on his face, and he'd become 10 years younger because sometimes, with the things he had to go through, like running for his life, looked like made him. I think it took years off of his life, but maybe not because Rodgers is my MVP.
Yeah, well, I mean, I definitely don't want to disagree with that. That's been my guy from the beginning of the year. But just to spice it up, I think, Patrick Mahomes definitely puts up, an obvious fight. I just think that his stats are too big in some areas, like that, the interception rating, and then just really the feeling on the game on the field. Aaron Rodgers makes the game never feel out of touch, and then he never makes it feel like these guys are nothing. Like I don't have to really play my hardest. I think he's really come into his own in that fact where he's giving his 100% all the time. And it shows, and I think mentally he's definitely evolved as a quarterback in his protection schemes. And then also his, how he can hot route his wide receivers. I think all that comes into the quarterback a little bit before for me than the stats, how they actually play the game. So, yeah, far and beyond when it comes to that, Aaron Rodgers. But then even statistically, I'd have to put Mahomes in that category right up there with Allen. I thought it was great how he stayed consistent all year.
Yeah. Yep.
And Mahomes a little bit up and down. But, yeah, Aaron Rodgers got to be the pick.
Rodgers' touchdown to interception ratio was just ridiculous too, man. The guy doesn't throw picks, and yeah, got to go with Rodgers on that. So as to question 1A, who is your coach of the year? Because I think this is more fun. You and I were we had our like top three, like a 3-horse race as far as quarterbacks were concerned. And I definitely did give Derrick Henry deep consideration. And I am not Rob. I'm not one of those people that has to tell people no, it has to be the quarterback. He touches the ball all the time. I'm not that person. If it was Henry, if I thought it was Henry, I would have said Henry. And he was in that I would say 4-horse race between him, Rodgers, Mahomes, Lamar. I mean, a lot of quarterbacks deserve recognition, but at the end, from bell to bell, and the guy going into the playoffs, the playoffs go through Lambeau right now. The playoffs go through Lambeau.
Yeah.
Okay, who's your coach of the year?
I don't want to be. I mean, I would definitely take McDermott. I think that's an easy route, and I think that may be the guy you might choose, but. I thought, just as an honorable mention, I want to put up there, the Miami Dolphins coach. I think he did
Flores,
freaking fantastic.
Man. Coach Flores.
I think he was one of my favorites to watch, one of my favorites just to, be around. But, I mean, that's, I think, the choice, Flores. But, for me, just being nostalgic, I think that Joe Judge did an unbelievable job of turning a franchise around and honestly almost made it to the playoffs. I know the NFC East was horrible, but taking an entire coaching staff and not even and some head coaches onto that to that staff and to make it cohesive and to change an entire culture and to literally go from 1 or 2 and 14 or 15 to a respectable 7 and 9. I mean, I'm sorry, 6 and 10. For me, that's like the biggest show. So I think that. It's definitely Flores, but Joe Judge is right there. Absolutely right there.
Yeah. I was Flores on the all the way. My 3-horse race was LaFleur, which is crazy because I always have reservations about giving a player MVP and coach on the same team. Usually one helps the other, and it's not like they overachieved. They did have some weapons and they did have a stout defense. And so my 3-horse race is Flores. It was the coach, Coach McDermott and LaFleur. Big up to Vrabel, who always keeps his. I mean, there's a whole bunch of shout outs. We could do a trailer load of shout outs, right? I mean, Ron Rivera stuck it out. He was sick, whatever, and this and that. There's always Coach Tomlin. Coach Tomlin is heavily ignored because of what people would consider a collapse, but the fact of the matter is 11-0, winning your first 11 games was an overachievement for that team without a running game, without run blocking. And of course you see even less of what they don't when they don't have Ben Roethlisberger. So taking those 5 people I mentioned, my eye test, I don't even know what the hell a litmus is, so I'm not going to use that. For me, if Miami won, if they beat Buffalo to get in, Coach Flores got the nod because that was taking 2 quarterbacks that one's a journeyman and one guy's as like the not ready yet guy, right? And you win 10 games and if you beat Buffalo, you get in. But I got to go with Coach McDermott on this because Josh Allen is not just a talented quarterback, he's a ball of emotions. And sometimes he's too emotionally high, and sometimes you see him make a bunch of throws, and sometimes you see him cussing out the refs. He's one of the few quarterbacks that get an unsportsmanlike conduct. A quarterback should not get unsportsmanlike conduct penalties on refs. I mean, that just shows, and it almost, if you remember, it almost cost him the game against the Rams. There was a bull crap simultaneous catch that the refs gave him an interception to. Then he got roughed up, and then they're like, no, he didn't get roughed up because he's out of the pocket. And then, so to take two rookie running backs, well, not two rookie, one's a second year, Singletary, and our other cat, whose name escapes me right now, keep them balanced as a two-headed monster, to take someone like Diggs, who's a strong personality, and say, hey, I just want you to be yourself, because you being yourself is all about football, and psychologically motivate him to just keep it about football, and to keep Josh Allen's emotions in check, and at the same time not let him be conservative and allow him to be himself to a degree, was the recipe that he needed to win at least 12 games. So to me, I thought they'd be 11-5 or 12-4. They were 13-3, and honestly, they were a Hail Mary away from being 14-2. The Kyler Kyle Murray.
Kyler Murray, yeah.
Kyler Murray. So I do admit, I'm not completely objective on this, all right? I do admit that I'm a prisoner of the moment, because when you watch the way the Buffalo Bills pump out 56 points against a defense a Miami defense that is as good as bad as they've been, you've never seen them give up the goods like that. They got hosed, okay? And now they're getting turnovers, because the only thing they were missing before was getting a turnover too. Josh Norman's at 100%. They're getting interceptions. They're getting fumbles. They're getting these tip drills. So make mine, Coach McDermott. Anybody else we want to give it up to a little bit for just. I mean, I really like Ron Rivera. I know they're 7-9. We're not trying to give it to a 7-9 team, but Coach Lynn, I thought, did a good job, and got fired.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I have to say, even on the opposite end of that, I think that the Vikings got to start making some choices, because I'm not liking what Mike Zimmer is doing. I don't like what they have with Kirk Cousins. How do you have Thielen and then let go of Diggs and then literally just get another wide receiver? It's just like they don't seem like they're going anywhere. Just thinking around the league, but yeah, just that would be my worst. Vikings.
That'd be your worst. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
cool.
The
best.
Yeah. All right. So cool. That wraps up our 2-part segment of this shorter version. We'll see what happens, right? Because you know how we do of Sports Debate Tuesday, which moves straight to our pick six. All right. So the bad news is regular season pick six is done, right? Because in the playoffs there's less teams. But the good news is where there's a 7th seed,
one last week,
there's a 3rd game for each conference, and then the totals another pick six. So we're gonna do our own playoff win-loss. We're starting clean slate with the win-loss records. But first, let's go to last week. Let's go to our man, Sean Ledig. Thank you for playing. Ledig, my man, he is half human, half alien, 100% hunk. All right? Volleyball personality extraordinaire, and just one of the better human beings you'll ever meet in your life. 4-2. Rob, not one of your better whatever, but I got to tell you, I'm 5-1. You're 2-4. Ledig is 4-2. But I got to tell you, for a guy who's been really good all year, you get a pass. You get a pass. Here's the key.
I'd get a pass if the first 4 weeks weren't like that.
Oh, didn't we have catch up to play on the guest?
Oof,
I think our guests were 18-0 or something like that.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. The first 3 weeks, they're like one loss.
All right. In fact, this is a look at all the guests. This is a nice little collage I put together. If you could take a look at everybody, Rob, that's pretty cool. There's our overall. You're 2 games behind. You finished 2 games behind the guests, but congratulations to the guests. They came out of the starting block, and me, I finished a respectable 46-42. I'm just glad that my 5-1 finish allowed me to do that. And you, Rob, 53-33 is a good basketball, football, and baseball record. So
just all around solid.
Yep. So as we start the playoffs, this is the guy who texted me his picks, And I like this guy a lot. And I mean, he's been on my podcast twice. This is Evan Corey, pain in the ass lefty, man, who's been in every weekend. This guy's at a tournament. It's the semifinals or the finals. It's him and someone else. Right now, he's a hitman for hire. He loves the game or whatever. He's taping his own games. He's taping the finals if he doesn't make the finals. Good kid, mad young. As far as upsides are concerned, I think I speak for both of us. You see what he could be, and I hope he just keeps going. Louisiana product. So big up to Louisiana products, huh? With Kristen Nuss, best player in the college player in the country. This kid's coming up, you know. And
I guess they got beaches down there in Louisiana.
Oh man, some kind of desert. Yeah. Don't let me. I mean, I don't think I want to die in a desert. Take me back to Brooklyn and kill me. All right. So first game, we're going the Colts visiting the Buffalo Bills. Rob McLean.
Well, I'm gonna play this safe. I'll go with the Bills. I do think it's gonna be a tighter game than we think. Because Indianapolis' defense is pretty solid, and then Phillip Rivers, man, he's been waiting to get a real playoff victory for a long, long time.
Yeah.
So he can come out firing for sure.
Well, yeah, but the last time Rivers is relevant, I think it was like the NFC Championship. They played the undefeated Patriots, and when Tom Brady is 24 for 20 or 25 for 27, you're not gonna win that game, dude. You and me can play catch. We can throw the ball back to each other 25 to 27 times, and we're going to drop the ball more than that. These guys, football helmets, under duress, 25 of 27. Felt bad for Rivers. That was and that was Tomlinson. I think that was last year, too. It was 26-22. Tight game. And I don't know. I wish him luck, but not this week. Not this week. No, I'm going with the Buffalo Bills. And all the Buffalo Bills have to do this week is stay off the boat. Jason, what does stay off the boat mean? Glad you asked, Rob. Stay off the boat means, if you remember when the Giants finished 11-5, the Odell Beckham and all them guys, instead of just chilling, they on a boat. And clearly they played like they were on a boat, and their ship sailed the first round of the playoffs, and they got murked. And I just think the Buffalo Bills have too much discipline. Take this pandemic that keeps people more inside. Take the fact that Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen are video game buddies. You're not going to see a better connection on and off the field. I go Buffalo Bills. And our guy, where is he? Evan Corey is going with the Bills. All right. Game 2. Rob, game 2 is going to be the Rams at Seahawks. This game is after 1 o'clock, I think 1:25. And the Rams are visiting the Seahawks. And I'm going to go first on this. I'm just going to go Seahawks. Seahawks stout defense, playoff ready. Russell Wilson saves his best for tight game situations, and the playoffs is basically a walking, breathing, week-to-week tight game situation. I look for him to somehow, some way get back to the NFC Championship game, and it starts against the Rams. Sorry, Goff. Wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, I don't know what the Rams are going to do because, they look good, then they look horrible. They look good, and, I feel so bad for Aaron Donald because, man, he just dominates this football field every single week. And it's like, I feel like he's got to look back sometime and be like, yo, come on, guys. Like, just a little bit of offense. So, yeah, I'm not picking the Rams. I can't do it again. Their train is over. And so that's the way I'm going to pick.
It's going to be the most interesting game for me because the Rams do have a history of beating them. And with Ramsey healthy and Darnold or whatever, they're going to present some problems. But
absolutely.
Metcalf is a problem and Lockett is a problem. And I mean, Ramsey can – I'm not going to say shut down one, but, I mean, he's a good corner. And if the Rams are smart, I think they go man coverage, put Ramsey on Lockett, double team Metcalf, have Aaron Darnold to have his way, and that's their shot of winning. But somehow, some way, I just think Russell's going to pull this out. So I'm going Seahawks. And Corey shares our sentiment. He's also going the Seattle Seahawks. Game 3, Rob. Game 3, we got Le Bucks visiting the Washington football team. Who you got?
Thanks. I think I'm going to go with Tampa Bay. I was like, wait, are we talking about basketball for a second?
What lower seed has the best shot at winning? Huh? What a lazy topic.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm still, Washington, good for them, but they got a lot of things going on, and yeah, I just don't see that happening.
Nah, I gotta go with Bucks. Listen, Antonio Brown, for he has, I believe, 3 straight games with a touchdown. He's back. Evans is hurt, but honestly, Evans playing sparingly actually works more for the Bucks because now distribution and keeping everybody happy is whatever. And listen, people are trying to pad their stats. Maybe they got bonuses coming and this and that, but everyone knows that the mission is the Super Bowl. Um, what's his name? Coach Arians understands
Hmm.
that. Tom Brady knows that, like he's like none other, and wherever he goes, that team's gonna follow. All of those egos are in check because they all want to win a Super Bowl. They want to win a Super Bowl. Defense looks stout. Going, why am I even? Why we could have just I could have just said Bucks. All right, sorry about that. And my man could have said Bucks. Evan Corey, he's saying Bucks too. So, yep,
Yeah, that's
smart.
that's a buy game.
What the hell? Yak, 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 yak. I didn't. Did I need to do all that? No, I did not. All right,
That's all
so
good.
so we go to the Sunday games. First game is Ravens visiting the Titans. This is um, I go first on this one. This is my upset pick, but not so much because the Ravens have been hitting their stride. They're on a consecutive game winning streak where Lamar Jackson and their running core has been really, really good. Special teams has been what special teams is doing their thing. John Harbaugh, I consider experience, and it's seems like familiar territory because Lamar really wants to win a playoff game. They were 14-2 last year. He's got some unfinished business, and yep, Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very close game. I think it's going to be tough again, but like you were saying before, the thing that scares me is Tannehill. They have such a good offense. They have Derrick Henry. They have a sick receiving core. They have a very serviceable quarterback. They obviously signed him on for more years. He's good enough. He's good enough to win games for them. But it doesn't ever feel like they're that good. It's not like, oh man, like when you see a wide receiver on that team get a ball, you're like, damn, these guys are good. And you see Derrick Henry get the ball, you're like, damn, they're good. But you don't look at the Tennessee Titans offense and say, oh, you better watch out for them. So there's just something missing there. And I think that's really the issue. The defense is really solid again, but they just can't score points with teams like playoff teams. So, yeah, I'm going to have to go with Baltimore. And as long as they make it a shootout, they got all the chances in the world.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think, like, if all the higher seeds win out, the winner of this game plays the Kansas City Chiefs, and that's a good game, dude. That's a good game,
Yeah,
regardless of who wins
definitely.
against Kansas City, Lamar or who do you want, Lamar or Derrick Henry? I mean, remember the Titans made it to the AFC Championship game, so we keep sleeping on them, and if we're wrong, we're wrong. But I got to go with the Ravens on this because of momentum. And our guy is also going with Evan Corey's going to go with the Ravens. That's what that looks like to me. Yep. Game 5. I guess I could skip Evan Corey on this one. Mid-afternoon game. The one-ish game is the Bears visiting the Saints. You go first.
This is what I was saying before. It's so hard because you just don't know what Chicago is going to give you, you know? But if anything, I just cannot. I'm obviously going to go with the Saints. It's just a smarter pick. But, man, I could totally eat these words, come Sunday because the Bears, man, when they play good football, when Mitch Trubisky plays good football, it's kind of tough. He can run, he can move the pocket and then throw. Like it's very difficult to play against. So, but I'm still going to go with the Saints. With Drew Brees back, it's kind of null and void at this point.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Saints. Big up to Sanders. His last catch gave him a $500,000 bonus. So when he caught this he caught one for a first down and just kind of laid on the ground and celebrated, and everybody, I didn't know what the hell that was about. I was like, the hell's wrong with you? And then I found out later that one catch gives him the his bonus. So good for him, man. There's something about signing a contract, but there's something more about to be said about earning that buck too. These little incentives and stuff like that for the players. And I mean, you got Drew Brees, man. It always gives you a shot to make that extra cheddar cheese.
Right.
Oh, sorry. Who wins? The Saints. Evan Corey is also going to go with the Saints. And we go to our last game, evening game on NBC. We have the Browns visiting the Steelers. I go first on this one, Rob. Rob, I'm going to go with the Steelers. I think Coach Tomlin, who I always call 1 or 1A, with the whole week to prepare against the team that you played last week that had to go 100% to beat you. It's too much time to prepare. He's got a sample size as recent as a week ago. Defense will hold up. The weapons that Pittsburgh has with Big Ben throwing, even without a running game, is going to secure this win. I'm going with the Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, this is the game that I feel like one of the top seeds could definitely lose. I'm going to pick the Browns. I just love the way that their energy is. I think it's become because they don't have a coach who's so, all over the place. Now they can kind of focus that intensity and that energy to the field, as opposed to the problems outside of it. And that's why it's been fun to watch. Like they don't play the cleanest football. They don't play, the most amazing looking football. It's not like the greatest thing to watch, but they're 10-6 for a reason. They're a good team, a tough team, and the Steelers have not been playing the best ball. Maybe they've been, sleeping. 11-0. We can kind of come back, but what is it like? They're 1-6 in the last couple games. Like they've been pretty bad.
The Steelers, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, they won the first 11, lost the next 3, and then won the last one. That's
yeah. I mean,
no, sorry, lost 3 of the last 4. They won last week to get the division. 12-4 is a good record, but as far as momentum is concerned, I certainly don't blame you for picking them.
But I mean, you go into week 12 and then you say, "Hey, we're only going to win one more game to the end of the season." That is not a good look. That's a month and a half of okay football. And I don't know if that's on the coaching, I don't know if that's on the practices, or I don't know if that's just on the players. But hey, I'm going with Cleveland on this one. I think they're going to come through for me.
Evan shares your sentiment. He's going with the Cleveland Browns on this one. So basically,
it's
not just me against the guest. It's me against the host and the guest for this last Pick 6. So that concludes our Pick 6. And next up, one of my favorite things, as you know, Rob McLean, I bring you to shame or not to shame. It's also available.
Shame. 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 Shame.
Okay, let's setting up to shame or not to shame. Let's go A. Let's go that. Bam, bam. Okay, Rob, are you ready?
Yes.
To shame or not to shame, Rob? Coach Peterson's moves with the Eagles. This is Sunday Night Football. Coach Peterson, first of all, doesn't go for it on 4th down on the 39-yard line when they're up. Goes for it on 4th down when they can kick a field goal to tie the game at the half. And then for more than an entire quarter, goes to his 3rd-string quarterback, Sudfeld, to finish the game. Clearly, they're trying to lose on this one. Rob, shame or no shame?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely shame. Because if you're going to tank, let's do it a better way. You're just on national television giving up in the 4th quarter. And whether or not you want to say it is or it's not, maybe Jalen Hurts got hurt somehow that we don't know. But I don't think that's what it is. I don't think that Jalen Hurts has the potential for the highest, to be the best quarterback of all time. But they had a chance to win those games if he was playing, especially even earlier on in the season. So it's pretty shameful. And like I was saying before, I think Peterson should be on the hot seat and definitely should be thinking about getting a new job.
Yeah. Listen, Rob, we're going to go over on this one, all right?
Yeah,
I got to go shame, all right? First of all, I'd like to give a shout-out to Chris Collinsworth. Chris Collinsworth said, "Where is Herm Edwards when you need him?" And if you get the joke on that, remember Herm Edwards? We play to win the game. We don't just play it just to play it. We play it to win it. So big shout-out to Chris Collinsworth on this one, as I'll just reset the 1 minute. I think this is an absolute shame. Not only was it a shame, it was a national embarrassment. Here you are on the last game of the season. All right, this is Sunday night. The world is watching. The Cowboys and Giants game was already decided. By the way, I told you I'm your friend. All right. When I told you the Giants were going to win, and when I told you the Dallas Cowboys were going to lose at the end, because when it counts, they will let their fans down. So that's why I needed the extra time for that to say, Rob, I'm your friend. I was trying to help you, okay? But this is an embarrassment because this is the NFL, Rob. This is professional football. Listen, high school, we coach club, right? We coach some high school or whatever, and at the end of the season, sometimes, kid's been working hard. You want him to get some playing time. Yeah, he deserves it. Let's put him in for a little bit. No, this is professional sports. There was significant playoff implications hanging in the balance, and he basically spoon-fed and handed Washington that win. He should be embarrassed. And you know what? I've always thought his job was protected, Rob, because regardless, but because of that stunt should get you fired. All right. I'm not trying to make this a black thing, but there are African American coaches that have gotten fired for less. All right. Lynn, from the Chargers. Let me tell you something. He's 7-9, but like 5 of those games were decided on the final play. So
with a rookie quarterback, with not having Joey Bosa most of the season, yeah. That should be the first coach picked up right there.
Yes, somewhere.
What a job he did.
He did. And he kept them together. Right? There's so many teams that could fold their tent and stop playing. To me, you fire a coach if you're losing with talent, a lot of talent, and they stop playing for you. Like when there's nothing to play for, right, and they just give up and they stop playing for you, then yeah, the coach got to go. And frankly, those players who were not caring about their playing resume, maybe you clean house with them too, because it's again professional football. Rob, can we not see it on the sideline though? Could we not see the offensive line just kind of like they knew what was going on? Could you not see Jalen Hurts' face when like he was just like? In fact, Jalen Hurts and you have the same face right now.
Right. Well, because you're not going to play me all year while Carson Wentz is stinking up the whole field. And then I come in, win a big game for you, lose a game,
and then I'm
done.
The Saints!
Yeah, against we beat the Saints. And then we come in and lose a tough game to another team. And then we come in for the most important game of the year, pretty much. Most important game of a 4-8 team's year. And you go and blow that stuff. It's just like... Man,
but the world's watching. It wasn't like an afternoon game where people like, this game is supposed to be televised. We're going to show something else. Okay. These guys have nothing to play for. All right. The Patriots and Jets. Fine. Nothing to play for. Right. The Vikings played the Detroit Lions. And let me tell you something. For 2 teams with nothing to play for, that was man, they put on a show. That was embarrassing. Yep. And as I think everyone in New York should be upset at this. Joe Judge. I'm actually on my newsfeed. I put a quote up, and for the people watching the video version of this, he definitely expressed his sentiments in the most professional way he knew how. But G-Men fans should be upset at this. Ron Rivera should not apologize for it. He can only play. The Washington football team can only play who's in front of them, so it's not their fault, right? They're like, you know what? They're giving us an opportunity to get into the playoffs. We'll take it. So that's not. But the only people that should be more infuriated right now than the Giants fans are the Eagles. The Eagles. This guy should be booed off the block, dude. He should be booed off the block. So that was a long but conclusive segment of To Shame or Not to Shame People. And now we move on to Quick Question. Quick question. So, Rob, there's going to be 2 questions here that are going to take a little bit of time because it's not a subject matter. But it should be a subject matter. So we're talking about recent firings. So quick question, Rob, or not so quick question. Adam Gase gets fired from the New York Jets. Who's a suitable replacement? Who should they be looking for right now?
I think I just named it, to be honest. I think Lynn from the Chargers, why not? I think that's a wonderful idea. I can't really think of anybody else right now that doesn't, match up too, because, the Chargers just moved to LA, so he had to go through that transition with that team, and then LA is one of the biggest, hubs in the country. So he'd understand at least what the ramifications are for taking a job in a big city like that. So yeah, I definitely think he's on a short list.
I like Anthony Lynn for all of those same reasons, and I also like I don't like Bieniemy for this job because his first job, nobody who's taken years and decades of their life to actually be named head coach should have their first assignment. That includes Adam Gase for the New York Jets.
Yeah.
You gotta call in a big dog for that, and Lynn's a big dog because he played under a lot of pressure with LA, right? And that's for all of those same reasons I like Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer is capable of. I mean, he's left college football the way every decent college coach should leave, in scandal. Okay, just like every decent politician should leave politics in handcuffs. He left in scandal because that just shows you're ready for the NFL. Because the NFL, you don't get those aren't actual rules that he got in trouble for. So
Right.
so for a team that's snake bitten by jinxes and whatever, in a stadium that's shared by the other team who calls you their baby brother, for a city that brings new meaning to the word microscope, make mine Urban Meyer. Rob, quick question. Where should Eric Bieniemy go? He's interviewing for a head coaching job, and someone's going to pick him up. Right now, you got vacancies with the Jacksonville Jaguars. You got San Diego. Whoops.
LA,
Los
yeah,
Angeles Chargers. You got a bunch of interim positions that aren't going to last long. I don't think Romeo Crennel's going to stay with the Houston. I mean, I don't think they're going to keep him as the head coach. He was the interim for the Houston Texans. Who do you got? Who's good? What's a good match for Eric Bieniemy?
I mean, as a head coaching job, I think that's going to be really difficult to take on, a Jaguars organization because they got a lot of holes to handle. So I would say, maybe one of the coordinator positions for him may be the route, to be involved in a building franchise. And maybe have him be an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, kind of build himself up, and get a better feel for a successful franchise again. I think that's the route I'm probably going with him.
Where?
Jacksonville, but just not head coach.
Well, if he moves anywhere else, it's going to be for head coaching position because right now he's the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, and
That's
he
what I'm
ain't
saying.
going nowhere unless it's for a spike up.
Which I don't think is
and
happening.
Jacksonville right now, dude, you need a kingpin to clean house out there. When I say clean house, I mean the broom, mop, squeegee, pledge, fantastic, rags. They need to, from the quarterback all the way on down, man. Even I hope the GM's not even there. I don't wish anybody to lose their job, but I hope the GM's not there, man. You got Gardner Minshew, man. That's the best out of that recruiting camp. No, Trevor Lawrence is coming. And he needs someone to come with him, and maybe Bieniemy is because those two guys can do those. Maybe those two guys, just like Rex Ryan and Mark Sanchez. I mean, they're very forgettable because of how they finished, but they made the AFC Championship game their first 2 years together.
Very true.
So Bieniemy, for me, I like the Houston Texans because I think their defense is always going to be stout. They got good leadership from the player position all the way up to the coaches, if they keep those coaches. Romeo Crennel can go back to defensive coordinator if he wants. And they have offensive weapons. They just need direction. And what better candidate for the position of head coach that can help just Deshaun Watson and all of these weapons they have? Just give them a little nudge the right direction, and Houston will be back to being the division leader on them. I mean, they've had so many 12-4 seasons, and people forget because I guess they're not a big market team. And now it's crazy because they're visible because they're 4-12. But I'm like, dude, all those seasons they were 12-4, no one said anything about them. They put up. You remember last year they put up 24 against Kansas City before Kansas City.
Yeah, Houston is a tough draw. I mean, Deshaun Watson, people don't even talk about him anymore, but he is still top 10 quarterback in the league, top 7 quarterback in the league. Like, he is unreal. I mean, he was at MVP caliber before he blew out his knee 2 years ago.
True.
Rookie season, he was freaking MVP. That's like right up there in the top MVP voting. So like that's very, very high level, very high ceiling.
Rob, quick question. I'm going to go first on this one. Is Steph Curry back? The answer is absolutely. The man rolled up 60 points over the weekend. Rolled up half of that 30, which is like everybody's dream game. That's other people's career high,
Right.
okay? But somewhere in between, he had a shoot around in practice in between and hit 105 straight three-pointers. For the people listening at home, that is not a typo I'm reading. That is not something that I'm making up just to get your attention. Rob, 105 three-pointers. 105 straight three-pointers. I cannot do 30 straight layups without missing. 105 three-pointers. Or is it 106? I keep repeating the wrong thing over and over.
It was 105.
It was 105
before.
straight three-pointers.
It was the day before, the practice before he hit 62 points. He hit 105 consecutive three-pointers that practice before. Crazy.
So, that quick question,
So-
or did we just answer that?
No. I mean, all I'll add to that is, for me, what made Steph Curry great, and it's hard to, quantify that into a couple things, but what made him great was that, one, he was in a fantastic system that challenged him, that made him play defense, and that made him play offense. So
Or at least under Jackson, yeah.
Exactly. And I'm not trying to, throw shade at Steve Kerr, but he was gifted an amazing package blueprint for a team, and then he could go and do what he wanted to do. But I haven't seen this team play like Golden State Warriors, whoever's on the court, because they were pulling people off practice squad, whatever, and it was just like, who is that guy? And now it's like they're pulling people off the practice squad, and it's like it's ugly. So Mark Jackson is the reason why Curry was playing at the level he was playing earlier on. Now, I don't think Curry's back. I don't think that the Golden State Warriors are ever going to be anything until you have both Splash Brothers back, and you start creating an environment that is of winning culture again. Because no offense to Steve Kerr, but he came into a winning culture. Yes, they won their first championship, but the culture was different.
I agree. And listen, when 73 wins wasn't enough to win, they brought in Durant. I mean,
right. And that's not a culture. That's just like, the rich getting richer, and that's why Durant, there was a lot of toxicity in there, and I don't love Durant the most, but he's pretty honest. I'll give him that.
It wasn't a match. I mean, I like Draymond Green and Durant. I just don't like, you knew sooner or later with I don't know, like Durant. I mean, Draymond gets in people's behinds when he doesn't think they're playing, when he doesn't think they're hustling.
Yeah,
And there's some people that kind of have this diva mentality, like, hey, don't call me out in front of with everybody watching. And Draymond's like, what everybody watching? What are you, a bitch? What are we, men?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, Draymond takes it a little over the line. It should never be that way with your team.
Yeah.
But Kevin Durant, I also feel like has his own issues because he almost wants to always be the leader, always be in control, but yet he gives up control all the time.
He's
so
interchangeable like that.
Yes,
I give him props because of that.
But if you're gonna, have an emotional reaction to not being the guy or not being treated, respectfully like the guy, like how he was saying Steph Curry got treated like the guy and he didn't get that same treatment. You either have to have thick skin and don't have to say anything, or you got to speak your mind because you don't have thick skin. It can't be both ways.
I agree. Yep.
So
yeah,
that's
and
all.
listen, I am a supporter of the Brooklyn Nets fans. I am a fan of the Brooklyn Nets. All right, even though the Knicks won last night, they beat the Hawks by 6 points. So
what did the Hawks do last year? I think they were like 30 wins or something.
yeah, I don't know, man, who knows? I'm just listen. Whatever the Hawks were doing, the Knicks were doing less. I mean, so they can only go up. All right, I am still a Knicks supporter. I just turned in my hat. It just broke my heart. I know. Like levels. I am a Giant supporter. All right, like Rob, like I told you last week. First of all, I already told you about the Cowboys, right? I was gonna play the song and get flagged. The accident waiting. Remember the accident waiting to happen song I sent you?
Oh yeah.
I was gonna just play that song and get flagged, and we can get our video flagged or whatever, because some way, somehow, when it counts, they will let you down. Accident waiting. Plus, I have Giants intuition. I picked the Giants when they played the undefeated Patriots. And I picked the Giants again when they played the Patriots in that second Super Bowl. Long time ago when they played the Randy Moss and the Vikings in the NFC Championship game. I was the only one that picked the Giants on that one, and they won 41-0. They beat Randy Moss and that crew couldn't come up with 1 point. 41-0. Kerry Collins is the quarterback, for Christ's sake. So all right, quick question, because we didn't talk enough about it, but we can briefly revisit it. Who wins between Alabama and Ohio State? Rob, I'm going to go first on this one. Get ready. I'm going with Ohio State. I went with I saw their football team from the beginning, even pre-pandemic. I saw them last year lose because of a non-call that created momentum that gave Clemson, that gifted Clemson, Clemson the final spot against LSU to begin with. And I was like, nope. And everyone's like, oh, this team only played 6 games. They shouldn't be in this. There are certain circumstances that make that an exception to the rule. My heart of hearts thought it was Ohio State, and for the reasons we're looking at right now. I think they beat Alabama. Who you got?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go Alabama just because I love the offensive weapons they have. Their defense is always pretty stout. But, I think this is going to be an amazing time, because Justin Fields will literally have the opportunity to basically move himself all the way up to the second pick overall. Because if he wins this game after beating Clemson, I mean, it was a
Boys in a lot
game,
of pain right now too, man.
Yeah.
But like you said, if he wins under those conditions, playing in pain, they said every time he throws, it hurts. And Alabama hits people. So if he can do that, he might not make it to the NFL. He might have lost years on his life, but
right. But I definitely am wary about choosing Alabama, but I'm definitely going to choose Alabama. I really love their running game. They have 2 wide receivers that are just studs. They got a quarterback who's actually decent, because Alabama always finds crappy quarterbacks, other than Tua Tagovailoa. But I was never really impressed with Alabama's quarterbacks, but I like this guy. He's very, very, very consistent, very solid. So
where did CeeDee Lamb come from?
Oklahoma,
okay. Amari Cooper, that's Alabama. Alabama produces some receivers, man.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe more so than the quarterbacks, but quarterbacks aren't too shabby.
What's his name? Was it Julio Jones from Alabama? Yeah, they just got – it's just – well, that's the thing, and we can talk about this for a second, but, the recruiting that happens in college football is just – like you think recruiting in volleyball, is bad, in D1, where they just put girls on teams or guys on teams so that other teams can't have them. Oh, man, football is 3 million times worse. They will take every possible recruit, and even if they don't need them, they'll take them, stash them, red shirt. It don't matter. Like, oh, you want to transfer? Go ahead. You'll lose a year off your eligibility. It's like, it's disgusting, man. Yeah. So I got to just put that out there.
Cool, man. But that concludes a quick question, but let's segue that into before we go. All right, let's put that in our shout outs. I think you stumbled on something. I want you to come on the podcast because I want to talk about coaching, and the conflicting forces of what I wanted to talk about was real coaching versus glorified babysitters. Me personally as a coach, it's nice to have some weapons. You're like, oh my God, all these little shiny cars in the garage or whatever. But I think I've been so comfortable being an okay mechanic turning Ford Pintos into Tauruses than to be this coach in a room full of Ferraris just making sure they don't be burn out themselves, So, and I don't know. I mean, it's nice to have weapons. It's nice to have one season here and there where you're like, all right, good. I finally got what I want. And then everyone's like, oh, but that's a different level of coaching. I'm like, no, it isn't. No, it isn't. You've always been there. You're doing more with less. You've been there from the beginning. Okay, please. And that theory is proven over and over. You can do more with more if you could do more with less. So, but before I go, and since I brought it up, is there anything you want to say about that coaching?
Not in a small time, but I'll just touch real fast. Is like for me when we were talking about coach, I was actually talking about this with somebody today. The ebb and the flow of learning how to, be a technical coach and then be a game style or like let them do their thing kind of a coach. Because I think that's definitely like, you don't want to put your imprint on a player, but you also want them to do at least what the team is doing, So just that ebb and flow and seeing what that person responds to and getting the most out of them,
Cool. All right, Rob, with that being said, before we close out, is there something you'd like to say to our audience who's listening?
No, I'm good. I just, be safe, be happy.
Shit, you caught me. I need some new material. I wasn't ready for that. All right. Looks like Rob can't stand you guys, and neither can I. All right. This is episode 49. For everybody listening at home, for everybody on your iPad, for all of you on your iPhones or your droids, for all of you on your desktop, who runs the world? Old school. For Rob, keep it McLean. I am Jason DeBeas, episode 49, Sports Debate Tuesday. We're out. Come check out the Option Podcast on OptionDB.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.